Hey y'all, so welcome to Stars, Cards, and Sass. I'm Astro Queen. This is Joanna from Uplifting Joy. And welcome to Lights, Camera, Flash. We're launching this on the eclipse because honestly, we're trying to shake up the system of people who say that the eclipse is like doom and gloom and chaos and don't do anything on it because God forbid your firstborn child might be sacrificed and your dog might die. So yeah, we're gonna share the screen really quick. If we can find that, let's see. Da 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 da. Share screen. And then we're gonna go to our wonderful pages. This is our first time doing a podcast like this, so pardon us. This is my link tree. Hi. This is where you can find all of my socials right here. There's my website. There's where you can schedule appointments with me. Now we have the wonderful Joanna over here. This is her link tree. This is where you can schedule appointments with her, and this is where you can find her. So yeah, linktree/uplifting joy, and then linktree/spiritually southern is where you can find us. Okay, so Joanna, darling, let's
Yeah,
talk about it real quick, okay? Because we're gonna stop sharing the screen now, just for a second. How do I stop screen share? Like, this is gonna be interesting. Welcome to Raw, Real, and Unfiltered. Like, because we're both figuring this shit out on the fly. But Joanna, while I start trying to figure out how to unshare this
yeah.
screen, what got you started in astrology?
I was honestly on this yoga website back in 2015, and Channy Nicholas was their astrologer, and she would pop in every month and have her video about like what was going on with the astrology. And I was like, this is fascinating. And then one month she wasn't there anymore, and I was like, wait, where did Channy go? I need bring her back. And they got somebody else, but then I found Channy's website. And so that was back in the Dropbox days, if anybody else was following her back then, where she would put out a reading every month, and it would be, it would be sent to your Dropbox, and there'd be like every sign. It was like $25 a month, and it was just so worth it because it just helped like it give a weather report, give some tech context for like what was going to be going on. And I've been following her ever since. So then when she dropped her app, it was like, this is less money than I've been paying, and for even more stuff. And it's Channy, and it's also supporting her wife's charity, Free From, which is incredible. Um, and to me, astrology, it's like you just get to learn more about yourself. You have more compassion for yourself. And then, of course, then the next rabbit hole is like, well, what's going on with everybody around me? You know what I'm saying? And then, like, you get to know them on a better, deeper level, and like you get to see what their strengths are and what maybe is in conflict with you. But it's like it's set up that way. It's not just random. It's so helpful.
I feel that 1000%. My journey in astrology has been over the last 9 years. I started on Facebook, and it all started with trying to figure out astrology and not understanding a word that these people say. Venus ingresses into Taurus. What the fuck is ingress? Like, you know what I mean? And
Right.
that's where the queen of keeping astrology simple was really born when I was trying to just figure out how the fuck to understand astrology. And then I realized other people are struggling too. So, yeah. How long have you been on TikTok?
I have, I mean, been like lurking and just like liking for years. But then 2 years ago, I really started to getting the like, you really should just be posting. Every post is a lottery ticket. What's wrong with not posting? Oh, you're afraid people are going to see you. So you're letting people who you don't even like control your life. And so, you know what I mean? Like, it was so many of those. I was like, oh, okay, you're right. Okay. So then last summer solstice 2025, I started posting. And so then I posted every day for over a year. And it was crazy because I actually just stopped last week, right before I got your email, like, let's do this. And I was like, because I'm just taking a little Mercury retrograde inward break, which is also kind of insane because it's like the biggest astrology month, I don't know, of our lives so far, and it's like not to be hyperbolic, but there is just so much stuff going on. But I'm very like, another thing about astrology I love is it's kind of like waves where it's like you could ride this wave and like utilize it and work with the planets, or you could just like sit this wave out and wait for the next one and like ride that one if you're really not like, it's like you don't have to do anything at any point, but you just have all these fresh start options. that you could use if you want to.
Exactly, right? And it's like I tell people, your chart is a guide. The first house is really the only house that directly is like you. And
Right.
then your second house is money, third house is communication, all that shit, right? So, like, you don't have to follow all of the transits. You don't have to cast every moon. You don't have to
Right.
do everything. You can sit and chill on solar eclipses and lunar eclipses if you want to. I prefer to use the energy, but if you want to sit in your house and hide, feel free. It's just, I feel like, TikTok has been super expansive to the astrology community. And I love that because energy is like, and information is so much more readily available. But with things being more readily available comes more clickbait, comes more fear mongering, comes more like just, ugh, type
Yeah,
energy. And that's why I love you because positive reframes on astrology transits, anti fear astrology, we're a match made in heaven.
exactly.
So, question about uplifting joy. Do you plan on expanding with that mentality of what are you afraid of? Post it and put it out there?
I am. I definitely feel like, especially with the nodes now shifting into North Node Aquarius, my third house of daily communications and routines and writing and speaking and getting out there, and ninth house, publishing, astrology, education, all of that. Like, it feels inevitable that that is going to circle around. And, it's like, I've been doing content courses. Like, it's like, I know what to do. I just need to lock in and do it. But I'm also a single mother and just trying to like make it work and like I'm also a professional home organizer. I also do mindfulness trainings. I also tutor math. Like everything I've ever learned and done, I do that as well as like do astrology stuff. So I do have plans, but it's like, stay tuned because we'll just see when I really want it to be like a natural, like organic vibe, the way I have to just like give you your flowers because being able to witness how you have, because I've been following you, it's got to be close to a year now because I feel like we connected pretty early on. And just watching you like literally turn up the dial on everything. You're just like, oh, boom, here's my new website. Oh, here's all my offerings, like ready to go on a platter. Here's how I do this. Here's my newsletter. Just like the amount of information that you are giving. Here's the lives, like regular, the amount of information you are giving and helping people. Like, I just hope you know how many lives you're touching and changing on a day-to-day basis. It's so helpful to have somebody in your corner giving these uplifting heads ups and like just really reinforcing how empowered we all are actually. So thank you.
I love that and thank you. And honestly, that's so mind blowing to me because, like, every day you guys come on and with like your encouragement and your questions and your perspectives, right? Y'all are my bread and butter. Y'all have changed my lives. You know what I mean? So it's interesting how I get my flowers, and the first thing I think of is like, goddamn, like I'm just waking up, doing my thing, and interacting with my community. I don't even think about it like that. I'm just getting up and talking to folks and making videos and writing shit because I enjoy this shit and I'm a star nerd.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it, but it just like it is so helpful, and it's especially in a time where we all have so many types of emails and stuff. Like it's fun to have those when they pop up. You're like, oh yeah, this is one I actually am going to open, want to see what's going on, um, and I'm in a better mood after reading it.
I love that.
What
That's
a
the whole
gift!
point.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
And finally, I got the YouTube link fixed on them motherfuckers. Like, I was so irritated. Technology for me, I have a Virgo Mercury in the first house, but it's RX, as y'all, know the struggle of Mercury RXs, especially with Krabby Patty Cancer being so recent. For some reason, technology and me, we fight all the time. It's like having a square in my first house with no other planets involved. I'm just fighting against myself all the time. So yeah, I really, really appreciate those flowers and I appreciate those kudos because it makes the struggle with tech a little easier, right?
Yeah,
I'm glad that my newsletters are exciting and making you feel better because that's the whole point. Like astrology
yeah,
is hard enough.
right, right. No,
So, why do you practice the astrology that you do besides the anti-fear mongering and the clickbait bullshit? What is it about you? Like, what's the nitty gritty behind the positive reframes from your perspective?
I think getting to know that I had a Sagittarius stellium, sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Uranus, all in the first house, just made so much sense for like how I have been my entire life, which is like I'm always going to see the silver lining, and I'm always and I have the moon and Mercury are 1 degree apart, so it's like I'm going to be reflecting to myself and to others like all the good things that are going on. Like actually, like that did seem, and it's not to be like toxically positive or spiritually bypassing or any of that. Like real stuff goes on, stuff is hard, all feelings are real and valid, but you always have the choice to like choose faith over fear. You always have the ability to, I think sometimes also people don't, one of the reasons I love astrology, like people don't realize how many gifts they actually have, because sometimes when things come so easy to us, we don't see it as a gift. We just, it's not something to be celebrated. It just like is what it is. But then we see what other people, it's easier for them, but it might be harder for us. And so in our chart, that's just one of our challenges, but to them that might be one of their gifts because of how things are aspected. So it's just so helpful to be able, like I said, just to have more compassion for yourself and for other people. And there's nothing good or bad. That's the thing with astrology, there's nothing good or bad. It just is what it is. And the challenges can turn into superpowers then, because you're so used to, like, you, tech is harder for you, but it's like, but you are overcoming it piece by piece. And especially the Mercury Virgo is just like not as likely to let you give yourself the flowers, because it's just like, well, that's like not part of like the efficient, like we need to just like do the next thing. Like instead of like celebrating, we could just like do like the 12 other things we need to do. Um,
My Venus in Leo definitely does, though. You
that's
can give
it.
me all
That
the
no,
kudos
and
there.
exact yes, yes, and balance, right, right,
Right. And like for me, the reason I practice the astrology I do, especially now, has a lot to do with my dysautonomia diagnosis. I can't do stress. Like standing up like sends my heart rate up 100 to 120 points just by like standing and thinking about taking a walk.
right.
So for me, like getting stressed out, like there's so much shit going outside wherever you align, right? I've personally aligned on the side I think is right, but whatever. You know what I mean? And for me, like there's just so much going on that we could focus on the negative. And I think a lot of people focus on the negative and the clickbait because it reaffirms that something's going wrong in my life. So seeing the positive content like we do, it's a little harder to believe. And for me, like beginning in the anti-fear astrology, it was for me a little bit like, am I just blowing smoke and rainbows up people's ass? Because like I don't want to tell people the wrong thing. But then I looked at astrology, like you said, astrology is chaotic neutral at its best.
Exactly, right.
So, like, is it really wrong to look at the positive? I don't think so, as long as you're acknowledging the possible challenging aspect and being like factual to the information,
Right,
the perspective you put on it is fine.
right, right,
So, yeah, best or worst, you get to pick. I'm going to do both.
right.
But best or worst transit experience, and your worst is usually the most healing in my experience.
Yeah, no, and these um just because it was recently, we had a Mars conjunct Saturn back in April on April 19th. So that made me go down the rabbit hole. And so I was pulling up all the dates and I was like, hold on a second. And even though I had been into astrology, I didn't realize these things at the time, because it turns out back in 2008, July 10th, there was a Mars conjunct Saturn at 5 degrees of Virgo. And 11 days later, I ended my engagement at the time, moved out, moved on my own. So it was like a hard thing that's worth it. And then cut to 2024, April 10th, that one was at 14 degrees Pisces, Mars conjunct Saturn. I, 10 days later from that one, ended my marriage. So just like, okay, like the fact, just that parallel. And then the one right before that, on April 4th, 2022, I gave birth to my first child on that day. And so it was just like, it was the best day and the worst day, just because it was like I had been 5 days of contractions. My water broke on March 30th, I finally am like pushing for like 12 hours at home, was trying to have a home birth, had an emergency transfer, just like so scary. Everything was completely fine. She was completely fine. Thank God for everything. C-section, my midwife, everybody, it all worked out. Ended up hemorrhaging, but you don't even like it was just not it was nuts. It was
Right.
not and like the hardest thing, but the best thing altogether. So yeah, I would have to say best and worst Mars conjunct Saturn because it's like something big is happening and I'm going to be better for it, even though it's really hard. This year I just started sourdough. I didn't have to break up with anybody. I didn't have to give birth. I just got
I
to make my
love that
starter.
for
So,
you.
yeah.
So
How
for
about
me,
you?
oh, go ahead. What were you saying? I'm
No, I was
sorry.
just gonna say, how about you?
For me, the best and worst transit possible, I would have to say the nodes being in Capricorn and Cancer.
Where was
So,
that for you?
like for me, that's in the 11th and the 5th house. My Chiron is in the 11th, and my Saturn retrograde, my Neptune, and my Uranus are all opposed it. So yeah, I had both of my children during that transit. I got married during that transit. I also made my in-laws hate me during that transit.
Join
Um,
the
like there's
another
a
thing we had in common we didn't know.
Right. There's a very tough relationship there, and I don't talk about it very much, but like, yeah, like I wasn't an angel in my side of that relationship either. But yeah, that was the time when I made them hate me. I hate Krabby Patty shit in general. No disrespect to the cancers of the chat. Y'all are wonderful people, but your transits suck for my mainly earth and air sign ass with like one or two fire placements. So yeah, I definitely say that was the most healing. That was the most like growing for me. Like I learned that I actually could deal with feelings semi well. Now, have I grown a lot? Because that was like 2019 through 21, 22.
Right.
Wild times. But yeah, like I definitely say that was the best or worst transit for me. For sure. Because I learned a lot about myself and a lot about my structure in those times.
Yeah, no, and postpartum is just not for the faint of heart. Like it's just its own, the lack of sleep and just everything, the hormones, like everything that's obviously that you're taking care of, like this human, and your whole life is so different. Like that totally makes sense.
I love that. What is your biggest lesson from astrology?
Really, you can trust your timing. You can always trust your timing because if each person, if each of us was born even an hour later or earlier or a day or we wouldn't be the same people that we are. We would have a totally different shifted chart. Like things would be different. So it's like anytime I start to get that feeling of, oh, it's not happening quick enough for me yet. It's like, but there's a bigger picture. There's a bigger sense of timing. And I could just like settle into being able to trust that a little bit more. And like we talked about, how everyone has gifts and challenges, but we don't always see it as a gift. I also think with astrology, everything is happening for our benefit. Even the retrogrades, even when things aren't going right, even the squares or the harder transits, it's like nobody wants to be stagnant and in places that are not aligned for them. No, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to settle for less than what they could have. So to me, like anytime things are tougher or more tense or challenging, it's like, oh, that's the universe's way of telling me I was playing it too small. They want me to have something bigger and better. It's not always comfortable and it's not always easy. And it's like,
Is anything worth a damn easy though to get?
that's right. That's right. Right.
So I feel that for me, my biggest lesson in astrology, and this is standing on my Virgo sun, my Virgo rising, and my Virgo Mercury RX, it is not that damn serious. It's not that damn serious. And I
Yeah.
need everybody to stop like getting so scared of transits. Let me ask y'all a question, and this is for the people in the comments watching this on the 12th, right? If you didn't know about astrology, would these transits have so much of an impact on you as when they're in your face? Let's be real, the answer is no. Right? So, like, you don't if you don't feel like dealing with a full moon again, go to sleep during that motherfucker. right? What's meant to be with you will be with you no matter what the fuck you do.
Exactly.
Right. So if you don't want to cast, if you don't want to pay attention to it, if you're just like, you know what, this shit's in my eighth house, it's gonna hit me anyway. Fuck it. I'm gonna watch TV and disassociate because I've got a lot of shit going on in my life right now. Do that. Okay. And I've been an astrologer for 9 years. Joanna's been an astrologer for a hot fucking minute. How long have you been an astrologer, actually?
I mean, I started probably telling people, it always starts with like you start telling people who aren't even asking, like friends and family, just like, oh, by the way, this is why,
Right.
this is why I like this about you. And they're like, I didn't ask you. So probably telling them, for 7 years, 7, 8 years ago, but like actually with, people that want to learn 5 years or so.
And I want to bring up a point on that 5 years. I don't give a damn if you've been practicing astrology for a year. I don't give a damn if you've been practicing astrology for 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever. You know what you know. Do not be afraid to make a fucking podcast. I don't know shit about podcasting. Yet here
Right.
the fuck we are. You're going to see lots more fumbles before this episode is over. Like, you know what I mean? Just
Right.
do it. Make the video. Talk
Right.
about your perspectives. Don't wait just because you don't think you have enough time. You've been studying, you got enough time to talk about what you know, right? Talk about that and then expand. Let people watch your growth. You're fabulous.
Thank you.
Which, yeah, I feel that. So, yeah, that's my thing from astrology. We are done with the icebreaker portion of this section. Oh my God.
Hey.
Now we get into eclipse time and we get to the time of hurting some feelings and ruffling some feathers. So, I'm here for that. Let's ask the first question, and it's gonna be light, so don't worry for y'all waiting and baiting in the comments, waiting for the thing, right? How have you experienced eclipses in your life, and how has your view on them changed over time?
I personally love them because I was born 2 days after an eclipse. And that's basically like when it was the day my mom's water broke, was on the eclipse. And then when I had my second child, my water broke on the eclipse, and then she was born 2 days later. And so we love that for, just keeping that tradition going. And
On mom vibes, yeah, I love
right,
that.
my youngest brother was also born right after a full moon eclipse. Mine was a new moon, his was a full moon. But just like as I looked back after you gave me this question, it's like so many great big, graduating high school, getting into my first relationship, all happened around eclipses. Ending that relationship, that was the my first engagement, moving into my starting over apartment, that was the first, like also on an eclipse. So there's just leaving my job teaching and starting a business. I didn't know what I was doing, but here I am. So many wonderful, amazing things have happened for me during those times. And I like eclipses because it's like anything, it feels like anything can happen time. Things can speed up so quickly. And so it's like that's fun and exciting because sometimes, again, like when we're stagnant or it's like things aren't going right, it's like here comes eclipse season. Like it could be something we look forward to, and to just like throw your hat in the ring of like, this would be my best case scenario. Universe, what do you think? Like, could we, it's not to say like you're gonna get it, but just like let's think of like what's the best thing that could happen instead.
I agree wholeheartedly. For me, eclipses have been the fucking shit.
Right.
Okay. So, like, my first real experience when I started paying attention to eclipses was during 2022 and 2023. Notable transits that I happened during that time: Aries and Libra eclipses, the sign of self versus others, and actually getting boundaries and choosing yourself. Like, and then learning how to like have relationships with others while still having your own autonomy. That was huge for me because I was in people pleasing shit, working a lot with my marriage, like being like more for my marriage than myself, gaining independence. It was a lot. And then there was the Mars retrograde with my Mars return in Gemini.
Mm.
Oh my God, Mars stayed in Gemini for 7 fucking months. Listen, I love my 0 degree Mars Gemini, but the rest of the world does not, okay? Everybody was so pissed at Gemini placements. I was like, you know what? I can't even be mad at y'all. Like, I can't. So, yeah, no, I've always loved eclipses because, like you said, it's fuck it, we ball. It is what it is, right? And so for me, like especially with this eclipse in Leo, right? We already have started really lessons like this year with the February eclipse in Aquarius, now to the full moon. Now we're starting a whole new like with our south node cycle with like this eclipse in Leo, and then we have a lunar eclipse in Pisces, which ends a lot of cycles from 2025 as well. So, yeah, no, I'm super fucking excited because doors are ramming open. I mean, like this eclipse that's going to happen on the 11th, this isn't a gentle eclipse by any means. Let's
Right.
just be real, right? And I actually have the chart that I want to pull up. So, we're gonna go back to screen sharing. Da 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 da. Where's the share button? There was a share button around here. Like, do I not get a share button anymore? Like, what the fuck? Da 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 da. We're gonna get there, guys. Okay, so bah. No, go back. I told y'all I don't know how the fuck to do a podcast. Like, we're doing this live. Post tools, maybe? Nope, that's not it. Where's okay, hold on. Here's how I'm gonna do this. Share. Ta-da.
Let's go.
I'm trying to do it with like half a screen. So, yeah, here we go. Okay. So, let's get this off now. Blah. And now I know how to stop screen share because you have to press stop screen share. But yeah, this is the chart
Ooh,
of the
yeah.
eclipse, right? It peaks at 1:45 p.m. This is Central Time. So, 2:45 Eastern, 12:45 Mountain, 11:45 a.m. Pacific. Okay. So we've got the moon and the sun here at Leo just outside of a conjunction point period. Now Jupiter is a fucking massive planet. So
Right.
would I be willing to say that maybe you can feel the conjunction between Jupiter and here even though there's an 11-degree orb of influence? Yes, don't come for my throat in the comments, okay? Like, so you might be able to feel some of the reverberation off of this. We've got Mercury and Leo. Thank fuck. Like,
Right.
and yeah, the moon is in a really fucking heavy trine here with we've got Pallas over here at 22 degrees. Now with the asteroids, I go within 1 to 2 degrees for an orb of influence. So it's a loose trine here, but it is definitely a trine. And then we have a trine to Saturn over here as well with this, sun and moon conjunction over here. So Saturn and Aries during the retrograde is definitely playing a part in this eclipse, okay? The
Right.
structure that you've been building and you've been seeing the flaws in that structure right here. Now you've got a solar eclipse just going 3 times new moon energy. You're about to get that new beginning you wanted, and it's about to go, right? And I love that about eclipses, though. Like, you don't know which way to go, and a new eclipse is just like, go this way.
Yeah.
So it's going to be that kind of energy, and I absolutely love it. And then we got a mystic rectangle involved here between Venus over here and Libra. Again, thank God for that, because listen, we love Venus and Virgo, but she's a little neurotic.
Right.
And then we've got this trine to Pluto and Aquarius, which Pluto is at 3 degrees. It's getting farther away from my moon. I'm grateful. Like, and and then we have that sextile back to like Neptune over here, and then we're sextile Jupiter again, and all this stuff. So, yeah, no, we've got a mystic rectangle on the board with oppositions between Jupiter and Mercury, opposed Pluto, Venus over here in Libra, opposed Neptune retrograde, especially at that 4 degrees. And then it says it's conjunct Saturn, but in my practice, that's kind of a big orb. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to regard that. I don't agree with everything Astro does, but I also don't agree with everything Astro Seek does because Astro Seek says that the nodes don't shift until August 18th. But as you can see here on Astro Deist, we're definitely at 29 degrees Aquarius with the nodes moving on July 26th. So there are discrepancies in every chart that you use. But yeah, I would definitely say that Venus is opposed the Neptune retrograde in this one. So we're seeing the truth on a lot of our relationships and the balance that's happening there because Libra is like the only sign in the zodiac to be represented by a non-sentient item, a paragraph scale. So observing other people's emotions and
Mm-hmm.
seeing how we need to feel, definitely a trait of Libra, and it's in relationships. Now Libra's at home. Now Venus is at home in Libra. We got some domicile action going there.
Love that.
So, like, yeah, it's definitely going to be like a comfortable observation of things, but we're going to see the truth. This is when we stay quiet on the creek right now, right? Because this eclipse is showing us a lot. It's a new moon, it's a dark moon, right? but we're seeing our own genuine strength in this dark moon, and that's going to play a huge part in it, along with Saturn. So don't be surprised if we see not genuine people being pushed out to the front with this eclipse, but also don't be surprised if you see genuine people like Joanna and I being
Yay.
pushed out to the front, to the limelight as well. I love that. What do you think about this 8/12 eclipse?
I'm so excited. I love how you pointed it out. As soon as you brought it up, I was like, oh my gosh, Mystic Rectangle. And then even part of that rectangle is the triangle, Venus, Pluto, and Uranus in
That
that air sign trine. And Uranus has its own natural eclipse vibes. Like, yeah, let's just shake things up on a fly. So the fact that it's in a harmonious, that harmonious triangle, harmonious set of trines with Venus, very connective, and Pluto, like, remember how powerful you are, remember how transformations can help you. And then to have Uranus there, like, yeah, like, let's just shake it up with the people that we're connected to and have things be better overall. I think that's going to be really, really special. And I just know, yeah, the last time we had these Leo, that's another thing I love too, is like looking back, like, well, what was going on for me back the last time we had, a South Node Leo eclipse? So that was August 1st, 2008, and February 9th, 2009. So it's just nice to like look back at those times and think, oh, these are some of my themes going on then. Not to say the same thing is going to happen now. Obviously, it's a totally different can of worms, but I just know those are some good times for me. So now I'm already expecting these times are also going to be good. And on the flip side of that, if they weren't good for you, if somebody's listening and like, oh, that wasn't a good time for me, we can be grateful we're not there anymore. And we can be grateful, you know what I'm saying? Like that we're empowered that we can make different choices now and we don't have to have the same cast of characters around us if we don't want to. And we can have things be different, So it's always a nice time to start fresh. And I agree about the Jupiter being close enough. And again, like I'm always just going to be thinking, well, what's the best thing that can happen? Jupiter's helping us out. And so it's like, why would I not think like, yeah, Jupiter's helping us out? Especially it's like, it might not be as close to the eclipse itself, but it's close, even closer to Mercury. So it's like the fact that they're both there too, speaking that same Leo language, that we've got a stellium in Leo is just helping us, helping people be in their power and say what they want to say and say it in a way that brings blessings to others.
especially with that Mercury and Leo opposition to Pluto.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
genuine
yeah.
speech and thought. It's going to be a beautiful time. Now, one thing I didn't notice until now, that's why I was looking at the chart like this, like what the fuck? We have a T square in here. So we've got Mars over here in Cancer, which I'm so
Mm,
tired of Krabby Patty shit. Like, which is square the Neptune retrograde. Neptune retrograde opposed Venus over here in Libra. And this is the first time I haven't stumbled over my words. Like I'm so proud of my goddamn self. And then Venus is square Mars and Cancer
right.
again. So that apex is Mars and Cancer, the Krabby Patty energy with Mars, who would much rather be with his daddy in Capricorn, but has to be with his stepmom in Cancer right now and feel feelings instead of just doing on that path that Mars wants to do. Mars hates going through water, man. So, like, at the end of the day, this is what do we think about when we think about Cancer? We think about the depths of the ocean that light can touch. Scorpio is the dark parts with the weird fish with the light and the rows of teeth. Okay, we're
Yeah,
not
right.
fucking with Scorpio right now. We got a Venus retrograde and a Mercury retrograde coming up in Scorpio. We'll fuck with the anglerfish in a minute. Right
Right.
now, we're fucking with the light in the ocean that we can see. But trust and believe that ocean can still go to 600 feet deep, and you can still see light, and it can still crush you.
Yeah.
So when it comes to your actions, right? Mars is action based, while Mercury is mind based. So we've had Cancer and Mercury already. What emotions influence our logical thought, and in that logical thought, what do we do? Now this is the answer to what do we do with Mars and Cancer.
Mhm.
This is our action behind our emotional processes and how we react to those emotions and what like spitfire reactions we have from those. So it's teaching emotional grounding in a fall like aspect. And with
Right.
the square to Venus and Libra in this opposition, right? The problem is we're seeing the truth on our feelings, but we don't know what the fuck to do with them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the answer is honor your motherfucking genuine self at the time. If you have
It-
responses that you don't like, cool. Now you know, okay, so when I have this situation, I would like to have this response instead of this response. And it's showing you what you need to do in order to make that emotion line with the action so Mars can actually move in the water and swim instead of sink and like feel the pressure and be like, I can't move because pressure. When you actually acknowledge those feelings and let them rise up from the depths of the surface, get it, right? Because repressing, we don't repress feelings during this T square. We let ourselves scream into pillows. We say
yeah,
what we want to the universe,
yeah.
right? Because speaking is an action too. Mercury is in Leo in conjunction with Jupiter, who's in a conjunction with the solar eclipse, right? So we're speaking in that dark room alone to ourselves. We're telling the universe what we want. We're crying our eyes out and bitching what we got that we don't like. And then we take it within ourselves to show our own genuine selves, our own power, because Pluto and Aquarius. I fucking am so excited for this eclipse. It's not even funny.
Let's go.
Right.
I think too, one of the things with Mars and Cancer, which first of all, it feels a little unbelievable that we're even saying that because did we not just come out of that out of that retrograde? Even though now I realize that is a year and a half ago now. It feels like it was this past year, but it
Right.
really was okay, almost 2 years ago. But the good news is, I think with Cancer transits, I always think of it too like this is an opportunity for me to reparent myself, and like the things that come up are opportunities for me to see.
Uh-oh, what happened? We had some signal go out. We're still recording. It's cool. Whole shadow Mercury retrograde
We have,
shit, man. You're here now. Yay.
yay.
So yeah, like we got the chart pulled out because that seemed to fix the signal issue. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that eclipse a little more just without the chart because the chart seems to be making shit fucking weird right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, like so I love that eclipse energy. I love Mars and Cancer. You were talking about Mars and Cancer. What were you gonna say? What were you
Oh, I
saying
was just
before?
saying with Mars and Cancer, or even this past Mercury retrograde, anytime we have Cancer stuff coming up, I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to reparent myself. We all get that opportunity again, regardless of who your parents were, what they did well, what they didn't do well. At the end of the day, parents are humans and they are flawed. And as I am one myself now, I can have more compassion for, what they did. Now, one of them was and have compassion with myself about that. But the Cancer transits for me are a time to be like, let me make sure I'm taking amazing care of myself. How can I be taking what better self-care things can I do for me? That way I can show up to nurture other people after. Like you really have to be putting your own mask on first type of stuff.
I feel that 1000% in my soul. Do you cast under eclipses? Because I damn sure do.
I absolutely, like you said, like when I'm feeling the spirit, then I'm going to do it because basically, like I'm doing the same thing for any new moon and full moon. I've been doing it for years and I do my same ritual. And with eclipses, I might not like call them, like dream seeds or intentions if I'm not feeling it, but I'm always going to write down four things that I'm noticing, like four affirmations I'm noticing of like what I was feeling around this time or like what I want to be feeling more of.
I fucking love that. And see, here's my thing. And I will make jokes about Krabby Patty energy, right? Because again, no water in my chart whatsoever. But for me, Cancer energy as above, so below. If you're feeling anything during this transit, it's 100% you, homie. Like, so I have to look in the mirror and look at myself when I talk shit about Krabby Patty energy and be like, okay, look, so we don't like feelings and that's a problem, heifer. But yeah, I love that. I cast under eclipses when the chart is right, right? Like under this eclipse, believe it or not, I would cast based on what we have already established for new. If you're gonna cast something new, I would be very careful to take into account that Mars and Cancer transit with the T square because Venus and Pluto are involved. So if you're doing things with relationships, keep that in mind that there may be some extra emotions available
Right.
with this package that you may not expect. Um, when it comes to operating in the trine with Uranus and Pluto, right? Hold my beer and watch this shit, right? With with eclipses in general, it's chaos energy. It is.
Yeah,
You don't know which way it's going to go. So if you are casting, please make sure you know what you're doing with chaos energy. Please make sure you know how to channel it. And please have time for a nap afterwards. Because if your experience is anything like mine, I'm fucking tired after I cast during eclipses.
right. That makes sense.
I feel that. How do you expect this next nodal cycle to go between Leo and Aquarius? You got any transits in mind for me? That Mars retrograde that we kick off with next year is gonna fucking suck.
But maybe it's gonna be great. But maybe it's gonna be exactly what we need at the time that we need it, and it's gonna help us remove our energy from what does not deserve it, and that way we can redirect it,
I
you know?
feel that. See, Mars is in detriment in Libra, but in Virgo, because anything that Venus likes, Mars usually doesn't, and anything Venus doesn't like, Mars usually does. So we're going into this. I don't like conflict energy because that's Mars and Libra, right? They like to observe. If they get into conflict, you fucking earn that shit because
Right,
they hate conflict. So if you make them pick a side,
right.
right? And then with Mars and Virgo, that's just get up and go energy, right? That's make things better energy. So do I say it's gonna suck because Mars retrogrades? Everybody, I think I only say that because I'm so tired of the Mercury retrograde hype that like I want to see if people are gonna be scared. Please stop being just scared of the Mars, like Mercury retrograde. Like Mars is so much worse. Like in terms of what people actually think about like Mercury retrogrades, like Mars is 10 times worse.
Yeah, no, I do definitely like feel that Mercury's just a blip. And that's actually one of the things I had written down was when we've got the Mercury and Venus double retrograde coming up this fall, that's going to be in Scorpio. So it'll be squaring the nodes. Feels like faded beginnings and endings and like recalibration, releasing what's not needed. But then another, I don't know if it's the next one or it's two after that. We've got next March, Mercury retrogrades back to from Pisces back to 20 degrees of Aquarius, which is where the node is going to be at that time, which that's what happened this past March, but it was with Pisces. It was Mercury retrograding back to where the node was. So, and Mars is also going to be going direct at 20 degrees of Leo in April. So it's like there's something happening around there. And that's one of those astrology, it's just nice to know the weather. Do you have something around 20 degrees of especially Aquarius or Leo, but also um Scorpio or Taurus? I'm saying this, I'm realizing I have Saturn at 20 degrees of Scorpio, so you know, so we'll be getting the ducks in a row. I'm getting the ducks in a row, next spring. So that'll be interesting. That'll be helpful. And to me, anything like that, kind of has that like, oh, like, how's that going to be? To me, that's just like, oh, that's going to be a really important time to increase self care. Astrology, it's like, we just have all these opportunities for cycles. So we could be reminded, like, you know what? Am I taking great care of myself? Because the weather's about to get a little funky. No, let me up my game with that. And then the last Mercury retrograde of the nodal cycle in 2028 is going to be going from 19 degrees to 2 degrees of Aquarius. So that feels like it's going to be like reviewing, like, how did this go? Um,
Right. I love that. I love how Mercury plays such a deep part in this nodal cycle.
the messenger of like, let me put a microphone to like what's been going on. Yeah.
Right. It's almost like that newscaster, like, hi, we're in this part of the eclipse season and people are losing their goddamn minds. Here's how it's going.
Right.
Right. So, yeah,
Right.
I absolutely love that. I love how much because the mind goes before the body, right? So, like, if you have a thought, your brain is going to prove in your physical reality the truth of that. Or, like, if you feel negatively, you're going to see negative shit. If you view positively, you're
Yeah.
going to see positive shit. This is the secret to this notable return. Look, bring whimsy back.
Right.
Bring
Right.
whimsy back. We need whimsy because Pluto and Aquarius is like, we need to address the real issues. Like, there's no time for whimsy. And Jupiter and Leo is like, bitch, there's always time for fucking whimsy. The
Right.
fuck you mean? Like, so I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And just like it's one of those like looking back, like personally, I was having incredible sex the last time we had this nodal return. And now I'm free and unencumbered. And I'm claiming that for myself. And an insane, can I just give you a little tea that happened like literally this week? I got a text from my ex that I broke up with years ago. I moved out of the apartment on that Leo eclipse. He texted, we don't talk anymore. I'm not friends with my exes like that. And he texted me. He wanted to say congratulations because the Knicks won. First of all, they won in June. Why are you texting me at the end of July? And so then I realized, like, with the nodes had just shifted. Wait a second. Let me look at the dates. I look back. The last time Aquarius was at 29 degrees, the North Node was at 29 degrees of Aquarius. The last day of that was January 2nd.
It just completely like shifted. So I'm gonna have to connect these two videos in an editor and just let it fly.
Totally.
So yeah, no, like I don't know what's going on, dude. This is pre-shadow period or post-shadow period fucking Mercury shit is what this is, man. It's wild. So like, yeah, what were you saying before we got rudely goddamn interrupted?
Just that it was crazy that my ex, who I don't talk to, we don't talk, reached out to say congrats. I used to like them, but we don't talk anymore. And the Knicks won last month. Why are you texting me after the nodes shifted? So I look back, and right now the North Node is at 29 degrees of Aquarius. The last time it was there, he proposed to me in 2008. And so I'm just like, that's insane that you would like, we don't talk. Like, why are you reaching out? And so I told him this about, whatever with notes. Oh, I don't know if I believe in astrology. Kevin, will you get the fuck off my phone? Like, stop talking to me. Like, what are you here? What are you doing? Very Mercury, still in the shadow period as well. So yeah, I'm excited for new experiences. I'm excited, especially North Node Aquarius, like, let's all embrace our uniqueness. Let's embrace, just like, it doesn't have to look the way that people think it's going to look. I have my Mars in Aquarius. You've got your moon,
Mars and Gemini.
Mars in Gemini. And but do you have Aquarius placements?
I have an Aquarius moon and Aquarius North Node at 5 degrees.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh. So you're having
Right?
your nodal return. Oh my gosh, exciting.
I'm super fucking thrilled, dude.
Yeah.
Like the last time the nodes were in Aquarius, I got proposed to. I joined the military. I
Wow.
was so young, like, and it's my 12th. I've learned to fall in love with the 12th house, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to learn to fall in love with it when you have Jupiter and Venus there. You do.
Wow.
And so for me, I'm really excited for my South Node return, but I'm also excited for my North Node because with this anti-fear astrology, like trying to help my community, but being my genuine self, I see it going really well.
It's going to. It already is. It already is. Right.
Agreed.
Yes.
So, except for this like technological business, I'm telling y'all, like Virgo Mercury retrograde, man.
Can't keep her down though. No.
Can't keep me down no matter what. What do you think of astrology in this current political environment? Like the craziness on, and we can talk both sides of the aisle to keep it neutral because I know we kind of have to in this kind of environment. So yeah, like what do you think about what you see outside in politics? Just craziness.
One thing I love that Channy Nicholas says in her weekly readings is everything is at play. Nothing is decided. We are all always co-creating what is going to be going on. We always have that ability to be empowering ourselves and empowering and reminding each other that it's not all decided. It's not all, it's like anything we're seeing, it also is only a small window of like everything that is going on. So it's so important to be aware, but then also having your own time to be filling up the cup. That, and another piece of astrology that is so helpful is there's not one person who's meant to come in and solve everything, even though we each feel at times like, well, it's me. I'm not doing, I didn't solve it yet. I didn't keep everybody from suffering. But what we are here to do is our part. And astrology, looking at your chart, talking with an astrologer, learning more about it yourself, like you get to learn more of what your part is. And then you can do that better. And if we're all doing that, or more and more and more people are doing it, we can't lose.
Agreed, wholeheartedly. I'm gonna say it. I personally think it's hilarious that the first day of the Saturn retrograde, the ICC was like, give us all the info, and then we're trying to dismantle the ICC. Like, listen here. Like, I can't help it.
Right.
Like,
No, sometimes it's
it's
so on the
coming. It's coming. And all I'm going to say is this in the most vague terms possible. Fingers crossed for October because Mars moves into Leo on September 27th. It takes moves point 0.5 degrees a day, which means it's going to take 20 days from September 27th for Mars to hit a certain orange-headed somebody's Pluto in the 12th house. That's it. Like, that's it. If you can't catch the reference, I'm sorry. Like, so yeah.
with God.
You,
No, literally, go,
yeah,
go. Yeah,
go,
yeah.
go. It's gonna be the greatest thing ever. Like, it's
And
gonna
it's
be
fun to just
great,
practice that feeling.
right? I feel that. So yeah, like, do you have any fun rituals that you do for eclipses? How the fuck? Ladies and gentlemen, we are trying. Okay, not giving me the converting video thing yet, so I think it's recording all of these like pauses too. This is gonna be the best podcast episode ever. So, yeah, like, do you have any fun rituals for eclipses that you do? Because I tend to just be a chaos gremlin.
What are some that you do?
Like, so for me, like with this Leo and Eclipse, it's definitely gonna be like playing a bunch of fun music for me and
Right.
just shaking my ass in front of a mirror, saying like all the things that I want for this eclipse
Yeah.
and all the energy. That's my idea of the ritual that I'm gonna do. Like, fuck a candle in the middle of August in the South. Like, we're gonna do magic the other way because it's hot as hell outside. My air conditioner's fighting for its last breath in the end of July. Okay, August is dog days.
Right,
What about
right.
you?
No, I just like I said, like I just like to do my usual ritual, rich and routine, which is just I'll go back through. I've got these books where I just wrote every single like new moon, full moon. So my first thing is I'll go back and look at like what was I doing the other Leo full moons and new moons the last like 4 years or so. And just first just and write down like some of the things that stand out and just first of all like celebrate like how far I've come. Another thing with astrology, it's like every month you get a new fresh start, sometimes too with if you have a blue new moon, but like you get at least one fresh start with the new moons, let alone all the other planets and their cycles too. Like there's all so many. Also you have your own personal cycles, especially if you're a person with a period, that you can be tracking as well. So yeah, so I just like pull all those together. I also do Channy's readings. I have a special journal for just like writing notes about those. So then I'll add some of those in there. Then I do a little free write with some and get some affirmations going. And then I'll use the Channy app to journal some of the questions that she's talking about.
I love
And I
that.
put it all together with my like affirmations, like this is what I'm focusing on, like my next time. So it just like yeah, I just love having that like this is a regular thing I can do all the time. And if something's funky and if something's not the way I like it, then I just can start affirming and using that affirmative prayer like thank you so much for this working out how I do want it to work out.
I love that. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like looking back on the transits and doing everything else and looking at apps. I personally, since we're dropping cool references like the Chani app, I love Astrology King. For looking at transits and stuff, you can search
Right,
the transit and do like I personally love his work.
right.
Um, and you can look up fixed stars, asteroids, fucking anything on that website. And then also for those of you learning astrology and wanting to learn about eclipses and that nature, the complete guide to astrology by Louise Eddington. It's free if you have a Kindle subscription. It's like $10 if you don't. So yeah, Chani app. Astrology King and The Complete Guide. You have references now. We're the shit. You should
Yeah.
follow us both on TikTok. Yay. And our last question before we kind of wrap up the podcast, how would you advise your clients or any potential future clients on how to deal with eclipses in general, but also specifically this Leo eclipse?
The first thing I do is like, what is going on for you in your chart? How is this going to land for you? Do you have anything in Leo, or do you have anything making a close angle to this? Because that can kind of give us a heads up on what some of the themes might be. But then also like taking a look at, where is Leo? What area of life is Leo for you? Because one of my favorite questions I ask on TikTok a lot is, if you could wave a magic wand, what would you most want to see in this area of life? And so again, just like, rather than it just being like, oh, here's where I am, everything sucks, and it's like, I get it, I've been there, we've all been there. But at some point, like, it can be so helpful to be like, okay, but if you could have anything, what would you want? A lot of the problem, sometimes at least some of the problem is, we can't answer that question. And if you can't answer like what is you would even want, it makes it much harder for the universe to bring it to you, rather than like, and you can take your time, and it can change over time. Just because you choose something, again, you have a new start every month. Like, change it next time if you don't want it. But yeah, where is this happening for you, and what do you most want to see here? Because you have the power to start to like, yeah, getting it written down, getting it out there into the universe so it can start to come back to you. And then you get to notice things, and oh, that is happening. That is going well for me.
I love that. For me, what I advise to clients is again, look at your chart to figure out where this is affecting you, right? But also look at the collective chart too at the time, like we showed the collective chart in the beginning
Right.
of this. Compare to that to see what's happening because we've got a T square going on during the eclipse. So we need to figure out where that T square is happening in our chart to see if we even want to cast or we just kind of want to let this energy ride and just transmute on the fly.
Yeah,
I firmly believe that again, you don't have to do anything if you don't want to, but chaos energy is just raw chaos energy. It's free energy from the universe. I would use it, but if you don't want to, you don't have to.
exactly.
I adore you, first of all.
Same.
You have
Oh,
been so patient during this fucking recording.
I'm
Um,
just having a ball with my friend. Just so
Right?
honored.
That's
Grateful,
and
and
that's kind of how I
happy.
want stars, cards, and sass to be. And so on this end, you guys, if you're not following Joanna, you absolutely need to, right? And if you're not following me, you absolutely need to.
And get on
Um,
that newsletter list. Like, please do yourself a favor. Like, you want that.
Link in the bio. It's the first link on my link tree, or if you go to my website, www.spiritually-southern.com, it's all there. You guys are phenomenal. You're great. You're going to kick ass. And if nothing else, your ass looks great. Okay.
Period.
So thank you so much for tuning in to Stars, Cards, and Sass. This was Lights, Camera, Flash, and literally just like in eclipse fashion, just like in Mercury retrograde fashion, we made it through it, and you will make it through this too. Joanna, you've been a delight. You were a perfect fit for this episode, just as I said in the script, and not a goddamn thing has changed. I love you,
Love
and
you.
thank you for joining me.
Thank you so, so much.
All right. Bye. How do I stop recording? Oh, there we go.